My brothers and sisters, may the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And then a leper approached, did him homage, and said, "Lord, if you wish, you can make me clean." He stretched out his hand, touched him, and said, "I will do it. Be made clean." His leprosy was cleansed immediately. Then Jesus said to him, "See that you tell no one, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In the time of Jesus, leprosy was considered one of the most dreadful diseases to have, and a person who had it was seen to be somehow being punished by God by reason of the fact they had that disease. And people would not have anything to do with a leper, to the degree that they were not allowed to live within the towns. They had to stay outside of the city, stay away from other people. And so there was not only just a kind of a physical distance from the community, but also a psychological and emotional distance. And if someone were to be cured, although it was extremely rare, they had to make sure that they did the prescriptions and went back to the priest, to the temple, to assure the fact that they were cleansed. And they could not really return back into the city to live there until that took place. And so we get an example of that this morning in this little segment from Matthew's account, where Jesus encounters a leper and cures him. Interestingly, Jesus also, in the course of his healing stories, there's two things that always happen. On the part of the person, there is the wish for it, there is the belief that God can do it. And on the part of Jesus, there is some kind of a gesture by which it takes place. And sometimes it's very dramatic, takes spittle and puts it into a person's ears or tongue, or sometimes he touches them, sometimes he just says a word. Today he touches them, and of course that of itself is very symbolic because, as I just suggested, no one would have anything to do with the leper. And so here's the leper, and Jesus makes the point of touching the leper. And by the touching of the leper, not only cures him, but also takes away that kind of psychological barrier that existed between him and between the community around him. The leper also is interesting to suggest that he says, "If you want to, Lord, you can cure me." He leaves it totally up to the Lord. And to that degree, it is even more of a statement of faith. It's not that he's demanding it. It's not that he's requiring it. He's just saying that if you want to do it, you can do it, hoping that he will. And of course, Jesus does. We heard in the first reading today as well, kind of a little laughter between Abraham and God, as Abraham is told by God that at the age of 100 he'll have a child, and his wife, when 90 years old, will bear the child. And of course, Abram's taken back by that and says, how can that happen to a person of my age? And again, it's sort of an example for us how with God anything is possible. And sometimes he surprises us. He does things to us that we least expect in places and circumstances where we least expect to see or find him. Today, then, as we listen to the story of the leper, we're reminded of our own need to strengthen our faith, to be assured of the fact that God will heal whatever is in us that needs to be healed. At the same time, to be open to the surprise that sometimes what we ask for is not what we need. Sometimes what we get is what God knows we need far better.